Hi, I'm Carolyn Priester Jones, and I'm here to talk to you today about a very important subject. As we are entering what we call the Christmas season, we really should stop and pause and think, is Christmas really real? I mean, there are a lot of things that kind of make you wonder. We've got Santa Claus, and we've got Jesus, and we got a bunch of other things, presents and trees, and I just wonder how that all fits together. I think if I had never been exposed to this culture, I really would be wondering, how does that all work? I mean, did Jesus bring Santa? Did Santa bring Jesus? Or do they work together? Well, in trying to figure things out, of course, the source of true knowledge is going to the Bible to see what does the Bible say about it. So I did go to the Bible and I wanted to see what God had to say about celebrations like Christmas. So did God even want us to celebrate was the first question. And so it turns out, yes, God designed life so that there would be times that we would pause from our regular routine everyday life and we would reflect on things. We would have times of thanksgiving. We would have times of celebration. As a matter of fact, God from the very beginning in Genesis 1:14, this is what God said. And God said, "Let there be lights in the vault of the sky to separate the days from the nights, and let them serve as signs to mark sacred times and days and years." So, in fact, God, it turns out, did want us to celebrate. So, in terms of celebration, the next thing I thought was, let's see how we should be celebrating Christmas. Well, you go to the Bible, and I didn't even find anywhere in there anything about how to celebrate Christmas. Christmas isn't even mentioned. Even after Jesus was born, there's nothing about Christmas. And so as I looked through there a little bit further, I really did become concerned, because when I looked at some of our Christmas traditions, I discovered that some of our traditions, in fact, came from pagan customs. So that was kind of disturbing in itself. Well, wait a minute. What about December the 25th? Isn't that Jesus' birthday? Well, it turns out there's some question about that too. Historians don't even agree, but most of them seem to think that Jesus wasn't even born on December the 25th. So, what do we do with that? Does that mean then that we should just pack up the tree and the ornaments and the celebration of Jesus' birth and all that and go, oh, it didn't even happen that way, we just won't celebrate it? No, that is not God's intent at all. In fact, the message that I hope you get today and any other day is Jesus just can't be boxed up. You can't put him in a season or a day or even a year. Jesus, God, the Holy Spirit is just too big to fit. You can't make it fit. And so when we think about Christmas, it is a sacred time. It can be a sacred time, but only if our focus is on Jesus. And we, in fact, can do that celebration on December the 25th or any other day of the year. That, in fact, is what God intended, that this is the day, whatever that day is, this is the day to celebrate him. Now, what's really important is where we put our focus on whatever day it is, because God does want us to celebrate, but he wants us to celebrate with him every year, every day, every season. Now, focus let's talk about focus, because one Christmas season, our daughter taught me the ultimate lesson of focus, of looking at Jesus. I had a beautiful nativity scene, and every year I added another piece to it. I started with the traditional, what I bought that said it was the nativity scene. But every year I would find some other piece that really wasn't even designed to be a part of a nativity scene, and I would add it. And so I was pretty proud of my work. I had everything all laid out where you could see the different pieces of the nativity scene, and I stood back and thought it really looked good. So that particular Christmas season, I put it all out, looked at it, admired it, and went on about my work. A little while later in the day, I passed by the nativity scene, prepared to look and again admire my work. However, much to my surprise, the nativity scene was not the way I had put it out. In fact, somebody had come along and had all those figures just bunched together. And so I thought, what is this? And of course, just as quickly as I thought that, I put them back where they were supposed to go. Now, in thinking about this, I thought I knew who the culprit was, because in fact, there were only two of us at home. There was me, and there was our little daughter. And so, of course, I went in search of our little daughter to see what she might know about that Christmas scene. And so when I asked her if she had moved them, and she said, yes, she had. Well, I told her they needed not to be moved. I showed her very carefully the way things were supposed to be, and I admonished her, you can look, but don't touch. Now, I thought I was pretty clear about that. So I was puzzled when she looked puzzled. And she looked at me in all childlike innocence and said, but Mommy, if they don't get close, they can't see Jesus. Now that really just stopped me in my tracks right there, because that was a clear message to me. If you don't get close, you can't see Jesus. And so I felt really duly reprimanded in a sweet way. I felt like I had been taught a lesson. And so I said, okay, let's put them back. And I put them back all close to Jesus. And so then I looked toward our daughter, expecting the big smile from her. But no smile. She still looked puzzled when she said, but Mommy, they can't see Jesus if they don't look at Jesus. Again, stopped in my tracks. As I looked at the scene that I had put together, it looked more like a class picture. Everyone looking forward, but no one looking at Jesus. And so I then let her lead me. Jennifer, our daughter, then fixed the figurines as she thought they should be, with every one of the figures looking at Jesus. Now, I do think that's a very important message of Christmas or any other day. Lots of times we go to activities, we go to church, we go to Christmas plays, we go to different things to be close to Jesus. But when we're there, we're actually looking at how each other is dressed. We're looking at how things are acted out. We're looking at the decorations. We may think we are close to Jesus, but if we don't look at Jesus, then we lose our focus. And so this Christmas season, this is a reminder an encouragement to you to always be close, but also to look at Jesus. Whenever you look at Jesus, you will discover what the Bible also had to say. The Song of Songs 5:16 says, "His mouth is sweetness itself. He is altogether lovely." And Revelation 1:16 says, "His face was like the sun, shining in all its brilliance." So I encourage you to nose right up to that manger, look directly into his face, and you will discover that sweetness. You will discover that brilliance. Now, at the end of each chapter in the book, Christmas of Discovery, there are questions for reflection. And so I'm not going to go over all those questions. I would encourage you to go over the questions and answer them and see what you say. But I'm going to leave you today with one of the questions, or actually kind of a series in one question, for you to think about. If you had been in the group at the manger, how close would you have wanted to be to Jesus? Would you have gone right up to him? Would you have made your way through the crowd so you could get right close to him and see that beautiful face? Where would you have been in the nativity scene, the real one? Now, let's look at another scene. Where would you have been at the cross? In the crowd of people at the cross, would you have even been there? Or would you have been far out in the crowd? Or would you have been at the feet of Jesus? Where would you be? And finally, consider right this moment. Where are you? Where do you want to be in relation to Jesus? Do you want to be close to Jesus? I'm issuing you an invitation to come and be close and look and focus on Jesus. I'm Carolyn Priester-Jones. I'm looking forward to seeing you again right back here on this channel soon for our next episode of this Advent series. Now, in our next episode, we are going to consider what happens when you have a plan for your life and it's unfolding just as you hoped it would, but suddenly God puts in a drastic turn, one you never saw coming. That's what happened to someone named Mary. See you again soon.